All right, Craig Wright takes the fifth, exercises his right to silence, and does not show up at the contempt hearing. And looks like sentencing is imminent tomorrow. So let's do a little recap and breakdown on this crazy, bizarre COPA contempt hearing on a space and get it on the record. So stay tuned. We'll get it started in a moment. Craig Wright pulls the Fifth Amendment right to silence, totally pulls a ghost move, doesn't show up at court today. COPA v. Wright, contempt hearing and sentencing is imminent. So tomorrow, looks like. So we'll do a recap on it and just give you my perspective, and we can open up and talk a little further about this funny case and how it's gonna play out. Yeah, so we did a little space this morning on all this stuff. Oh, we got my man Satoshi, we got Tim. Let's do it. Bring them up. Yeah, Miss Casey Nicole. Good morning. And good morning.
Good morning. The conversation earlier was wonderful. I wish it had been recorded, and I hope we can duplicate a lot of that energy.
Oh man,
this one, but
it's going to be tough. That was really good. Scott, It went 6 hours on that space, and so a lot of the ammo went out. That one was really good, but we can still get something on the record, and I'm going to go ahead and get a recording going. And so you see the recording going on this space. You're saying you see the little thing going.
I do.
Nice.
Yes.
All right. Cool. All right. So we're recording this, and we'll also record the background. So yeah. So let's just do a quick recap on the hearing today. We had the contempt scheduling hearing was the 27th. Mellor in his judgment, twice he put in there, he said subject to right to silence, executing his right to silence for not self-incriminating himself. The hearing will go forward. Right. What we know is that there was an email sent to Tristan, who's running the COPA case, and he said in an email to Tristan that he is not, he's not going to testify under oath. Not going to testify under oath, meaning that he's exercising. I mean, not testifying. I'm not capable of testifying under oath, meaning that he's just not going to do it. He's not going to testify, even if they paid him the $240,000 that he was potentially wanting them to pay him to travel. He wasn't going to testify anyways. So he would just sit there and say, "I'm not testifying. I'm exercising my right to silence," is what he's saying. So therefore, hopefully that will be incorporated into the sentencing hearing tomorrow, which I find compelling that they're already thinking about sentencing. Now, it's because there is papers that have to still be considered. Now, it looks like Mellor is taking it very personal that Wright didn't show up at court, and when he ordered him to show up at court and he didn't show up, and so now he's going to use it against him, it looks like, and go straight into sentencing. That just looks like what's happening. But it shouldn't be that way, but it is, because he still had all these pleadings that he filed apparently in opposition. Then he's also got his amended particulars claim. The amended particulars claim is relevant because it has potentially all the changes that the court wanted to see inside of it. And if you remember the contempt scheduling order, he said that Dr. Wright, it looks like he filed an application to amend his claim in the Champagne passing off case, or the estoppel case, Jack was calling it earlier. And so with that being filed, it should be being considered. So, but you've got this. I'll just kind of paint the picture here. You've got all these. So a full courtroom today in the UK, and I'm gonna just paint a little nice picture because we had some fun with this one. So you've got the Royal Court of Justice in the UK. They call it Just Us. It's spelled JUST space US. Royal Court of JUST space US. It's a well-known court, and everybody's packed in there. It was around 10:30 a.m. By 10:30, they're tweeting out there, and you got the guys. Nobert was tweeting, and Bitmex and all these people. They were tweeting stuff, and they're saying the courtroom is packed, and you had Arthur Van Pelt in the back row, and you got David Pierce in the front row in his bow tie, And you've got Judge Mellor in his wig. He's got his nice wig going, and you got King's Counsel Jonathan Hoff. He's wearing a nice wig with a black robe, and you got the official black robes and the wigs going on. And they turn the temperature up to over 100 degrees, so it's sauna level temperature in the courtroom to make it nice and comfortable for Dr. Wright when he testifies. Now, Dr. Wright's going to be the only one testifying in the court. So it wasn't going to be anybody else even scheduled to testify. Just going to be argument from COPA, cross-examination on Dr. Wright. And potentially they had documents, but no other witnesses. So it's going to be right up on the stand, sweating bullets the whole day. And they were going to question him about why he should be in contempt and how he willfully and maliciously violated the court's order. And that's what they would have had to prove is that he was intentionally, recklessly violating the court's order without any sort of, total disregard of the law. That's what the standard was. It's called reckless disregard of the court's order. That's what they were going to be trying to prove. So Wright doesn't show up, and they got the temperature up nice and warm and toasty. Not warm. According to Riley, it was steaming, sauna level steaming hot. That was what Riley's saying. And so the King's Counsel's got his wig on and the black gowns, and then Miller's up on the bench. Miller said only like 2 or 3 words the entire time. Most of the talk was about King's Counsel Jonathan Hoff referring to Dr. Wright and all the things he had done. How he should be found in contempt and should be sentenced to 18 to 24 months in jail. They'd like to get him behind bars at the hearing. Now, one of the other things that's come up, which was not at the last hearing, is that they moved the court to the criminal court. At the last hearing, it was in the civil court building, and Dr. Wright was on the Zoom. So apparently it was in the same place as it was last time. Now they've moved it up a notch to the criminal court where everybody wears the King's Counsel and the judges wear the wigs and the black robes, and they do sentencing. Because in the last oral hearing, Miller said there wouldn't be sentencing. He would be making a referral for that. But now they've somehow expedited that. I don't know if it's because it's probably because the appeal was rejected, that now they can go straight into sentencing and custody. So COPA is planning on having Wright. Well, they invited him to come tomorrow, and they offered him an economy ticket, so just a Southwest ticket to fly up there, and he wanted to have a lot more than that. $240,000 is what he said his travel accommodations would be, and he said then even if they did pay it, it would still cost. He said he still was going to exercise his rights. He didn't say this exactly, but he said he would not testify under oath. So his right of silence would be exercised, basically. Fifth Amendment.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
And let's not forget that it was mentioned in the court, or the idea was tossed around, that maybe we should send a live link to Craig so he can be able to be here today. And then they decided against that.
Yeah. Mellor offered COPA to bring in a live link and have him testify over the Zoom, and COPA said they were not satisfied with that at all.
Yeah.
Now that was because Mellor ruled before that he ruled that would not be satisfactory, but now going against that would basically overrule his last ruling, even though it seemed like Mellor would have been appeased to doing it. COPA objected. Yeah. So let me add up. Scott, if you want to join back up, we'd love to hear your perspective again, from the morning space, if you're not too tired out. Satoshi, dude. And let's open this space up, try to make a record here. So those are the Miss Casey Nicole. You listened to the space this morning. What's your comments and feedback on everything?
Currently in a gas station. Sorry, I'll be back.
Gas stations in Missouri. All right. Well, I'm just picturing this scene of the courtroom where you got Arthur Van Pelt. He really went out of his way. He's a friend of a lot of people. I think Satoshi's up on stage. I think he's a friend of Satoshi's, and he's a fan of his show. And he went out of his way to. I saw Satoshi talking about him on his show yesterday about his post and how his coins were. He was in a bad situation. He couldn't get his coins out of BitMEX to get to London, but he was able to get him out in time. So he went through all of that, got his attorney involved, he got out to London just to see Craig Wright, and Craig didn't show. I mean, it's really a sad. I bet you feel sad for him, Satoshi. Are you sad that What's your thoughts?
I don't really have any sympathies for BTCs at all, really. You know, shit corners, shit for brains. I've already told them.
Yeah. I mean, it's they had a full house courtroom today, though. He said it was packed full of the BTC and Tufty the Crowd fan club and Judge Mellor fan club. It was packed today. And it was a big.
One empty seat.
Go ahead.
Not one empty seat.
Not one empty seat. Yeah, it was a packed house today. Only one person was missing. That was Craig Wright. He didn't make it. So, any thoughts on to why Craig didn't go, Satoshi, or any thoughts on the case?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I don't think it would have been safe for him to have turned up anyway. I'm really glad that he didn't go. There was no need. There was absolutely no need for him to be there in the flesh as it was. So the fact that COPA was so desperate to get him there, I think indicates that they had more planned for him than they were letting on. And I don't. We know that the entire court process was completely corrupt, and we've seen how corrupt things are getting at the moment. So, yeah, I think that's the best thing that Craig could have done, is just simply not turn up. And then even if the judge, like if Mellor makes a judgment or a sentencing tomorrow, well, that actually could put him in contempt of court, because he's now making a judgment on a case that was already contempt of court, malfeasance in public office, and now he's actually making a ruling on that court case. So if people actually start looking into what has actually caused the contempt of court, well, I think they might be on the hook for something. The actual judge itself for holding such a contemptuous court case to start with, without even having any examination in it.
What are your thoughts on why everybody got dressed up in costumes today, Satoshi? Do you know about why they put on all the costumes and the wigs today, and then last time they didn't wear that?
I suspect, again, I'm just speculating here. When it was the High Court is meant to be a court of equity, and a court of equity deals with contracts between living men and women. Supposedly, even though there was no jury there, it was still a court of equity, and only living men and women can deal in equity. However, when they went to the Royal Courts of Justice, the Royal Courts of Justice can only deal with corporate entities. Hence, and also the Courts of Justice is to do with like criminal matters and contempt of court. So that's why I suspect there was a change of court and a change of dress code. Yeah,
and do you remember last time at the contempt scheduling hearing, Mellor specifically said, I'm going off of the stuff that I'm reading off of the transcript from Tufty, so I don't know how accurate it was, but it says that Mellor would not be doing sentencing at this hearing. In fact, he would be doing it only in a written format afterwards, if at all. So Craig didn't have anything to worry about. He could just come into the court and he would not have to worry about being sentenced at the hearing. But now that's changed. According to yesterday, they've changed all that. And it was the way I'm seeing it, it was almost like a last minute court change, because I saw that, and I correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like the courtroom changed. And I'm wondering if that was a last minute thing, how would they change it it just seems surprising that all of a sudden everybody got changed. Now they're all wearing costumes, and now it's a criminal court now, all of a sudden. It went from civil to criminal, and it wasn't mentioned at the last hearing. So yeah, it seems if your objective is to stay out of custody, probably the best idea not to be there. I invited Craig Mason up as well. Come on up. Mace Casey, I'll add you back up here as well. Go ahead.
Was that an invitation to Craig to speak?
Yeah. Well, I just invited him up. No, I was going to demur to you, Satoshi. Go ahead.
Okay. I've just forgotten what I was going to say then. Oh yeah, if Judge Mellor does put out a sentencing order or something tomorrow, I certainly know people who will put in a void order because void orders should have been put in at the COPA case order anyway because the COPA case order wasn't signed. It wasn't signed, therefore the order is null and void. Craig did not have to pay any of those forfeitures at all, but he has done to go along with it and all this kind of stuff. But to actually sentence him, that's another kettle of fish rather than just like fining him and then he decides to pay it or not, but he can clearly afford it. Just to get the whole thing moving along. And now they're going for sentencing. Well, sentencing him for something that isn't even a crime, that was actually a contempt of court to start with. I think that's opening up that's a whole new kettle of fish. Opening up a whole new bag of worms for the judge and the bird lawyers themselves.
Yeah. What did he say, Scott, about the amount of money that Craig had paid? I know Jonathan Hoff was complaining about that, saying Craig paid 10 million or 17 million before, and now he doesn't have the money to fly here. What was the amount that he was saying? Do you remember?
It said 10 million. I believe the total with all the other things was more than that, but they, in this case, said 10 million.
Okay. Yeah, so that was their argument, that he paid 10 million before, no problem, and now he says he doesn't have the funds to get out here. So
well, I think it's a combination of things. That's why COPA offered to pay money for him to get out, and he said, well, on that email it says, bear with me a second. On the email, dear Tristan, thank you for your email. The funding required to accommodate these expenses would be 240,000, calculated at 40,000 per month for the next 6 months. This reflects the loss contract and the financial requirements to address the situation. It is also important to note that given the actions taken by COPA, I am not in a position to pursue new business contracts effectively. Additionally, I am still managing outstanding financial obligations incurred from repaying previous commitments that were impacted by COPA's actions. These factors significantly affect my ability to operate as expected. However, I must emphasize that even with this funding, I would not be in a position to function adequately under the current circumstances. I cannot commit to answer questions under oath for COPA, nor can I feasibly travel to fulfill such obligations. So he's saying it's not 240,000. Oh, I need a private jet. I need champagne and caviar. It's, oh, I'm doing work with casinos out here, redesigning casinos, and that's a 6-month contract. So I'm not willing to jeopardize 6 months worth of contract for a debt turning up to court a week before Christmas when I can do it by live stream. But obviously, as we've seen, the fake lies of, oh, don't worry about it, nothing's going to happen until the CPF go ahead, was obviously just a ploy to the spider, by the spider to the fly, to try and catch them into the web, because of obviously they knew that they were always going to do the sentencing themselves. So I believe that's due to work prior, and also because he said himself there, he's not in a position to function adequately under the current circumstances, meaning that the provisions they're providing for him just aren't suitable.
and before I go to Joe really quick, let me just address that. So Scott, and I want to make sure I'm not delusional in thinking this, because where did we read that the judge said last time that they were not going to be doing the sentencing? He said specifically, you can come into court, don't worry about it, and we're not going to do it at the hearing. It'll be later. Where was that?
Yeah, so the Judge Mellor said at the end of the directions hearing, and to put Dr. Wright's mind at ease, there will not be any sentencing that happens before the appeal case is disposed of. And then obviously a week later, Arnold then denied the appeal case during the directions case and the contempt case. So obviously at that point, then, well, the appeal's done now. So now they possibly could do. They could submit it to CPS. That's what he said. Not sentencing. It won't be submitted till CPS until they have finished the appeal. Now, obviously, Crown Prosecution Service, they would need to investigate criminal charges. Has there been fraud? Has there been perjury? Things like that. So that part is sort of alluding to other aspects, but I guess that Judge Mellor, as the presiding judge over the contempt case and the deciding judge over the contempt case, because of he was the one who made the judgment, so therefore he is the person who can say, hey, does this conflict what I told you not to do? He's already got the answer in his mind. He doesn't need all this theatre of the 2 days. He knows if he feels Craig has directly conflicted his judgment by doing the passing off case. And so, yeah, this judgment now and this sentencing is for, I believe, what COPA asked, Bird and Bird asked for a minimum of 18 months, up to 2 years. 2 years in jail for not turning up at a court case when you've provided adequate reasons why not to, when you've not been allowed disability allowances, when you've been expected to pay £250,000, you're expected to lose £250,000 to come to a court case for 6 hours. It's just ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. But we know why the reason is, as many people said in the past space, because of they wanted to play silly tricks on him.
Well, they want the contempt. They want the passing off case that they want that to be stopped. That's the motivation. Go over to you, Joe. You got your hand up, buddy.
Yeah, so I was just curious if anybody remembers that Craig made a public promise to all of us and all of the public that any communication made between him and the court would be publicized from his account, and that this email that he would not be showing up has not been publicized from his account. And also I have it on good word that that email was spoofed, was not created by Craig, and that Craig is actually he has actually been abducted by the CIA.
Well, firstly, that doesn't matter because that was in the passing off case. This isn't the passing off case. This is to do
That
with the
was
contempt case.
that was not in the passing off case. That was
No, no,
after the
no.
passing off case. He made a
The
promise
pub-
that any communications between
Yes,
him
that's
and
what
the
I just said. The public declaration he made was about the passing off case, that all information with the parties involved would be public knowledge and would be shared with all parties integral to that passing off case. This that's happening now is a contempt case. It's not about passing off, it's about the contempt against the original judgment. He never once said that he would share the entirety of the Who is Satoshi Nakamoto case. So you're conflicting those two things.
So are we going? So we've seen about 15 emails that have been spoofed under Craig's name, and we're going to continue to believe that these new emails that Bird and Bird provides are really from Craig.
Who knows? But all we know is that Bird and Bird is putting their reputation on the line by releasing emails that they believe to be true. Whether or not Craig has done that, we have no idea until Craig tells us this.
Right. It would be likely, would definitely be more likely than not to not be true, based upon all the past spoofings that we've seen. So yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, on the point of sharing the information, this is still the COPA case. So the passing off case hasn't started yet. That hasn't even begun. That's all on hold. So we
Hey
still.
Gavin, I think Liz Crokin just she sent a message on the board. Is she on here, or maybe you might want to invite her in?
Oh yeah, I did invite Liz. So let me see. I'll do that. Yeah. Satoshi. Okay, we got Joe. A couple people came up and dropped down. Let's see. We got Vince. Time. Oh, that's Tim. Yeah. Okay, who's this? Bitcoin broadcast again. Any votes? Do we want to hear about Bitcoin broadcast? He wants to tell everyone they're coping. Maybe we'll wait for Craig Mason to come up and hear from him. You know, um, everyone laughed. Yeah. Okay. Joe's got his hand up. So, dude, what's up with Craig Mason? How you doing, bro? You working at the accounting firm today? You talking all, what are you up to? Casey, maybe you can invite Liz up right now. I'm trying to manage this space. Are you still at the gas station? She did.
No,
I,
I can handle that. I'll take care of it.
Okay, thank you.
I've
Go ahead,
already
Scott.
invited Liz.
Oh, you did?
I've
Okay.
invited Liz as well. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, so let's see. What do you expect? 100 degrees, 115 degrees in the courtroom. The King's Counsel's there. Everybody's pounding their fist down. The only guy that didn't show up was Craig and Ager Hansen. I wonder if Ager Hansen was there today. That would have been perfect. He would have been there as well, sitting next to the usual suspects. That would have been the other theater.
Might have
Scott.
got arrested if he was.
Oh no, he would be. He has immunity, doesn't he? No? Okay. I don't know. Yeah, I'm only laughing because it's just this amazing just us system over there. They've got, if you're in the system, you get the justice, they call it. I'm laughing because of what happened to the U.S. case with the entire Kleiman decision, where it's already been well decided that the origins of Bitcoin is decided as a matter of law, so it's not in dispute. And then here they are over there running this circus as though that never happened. It's just great. So there he is, Craig Mason, Mr. Cope himself. One of the we were Bitcoin broadcast came up and he told everybody they were coping. This is all about coping, and everybody should sell BSV. So, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm definitely coping, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I mean, like you said, it's important to note just how truly this is a complete clown show. I mean, it's been decided, like you said, the whole premise of the Kleeman case was that he's Satoshi. Now, what do we do with, he was involved in being Satoshi. Was it just him, or was it him and Kleeman? And it's just one example of many things when you look at this, that it's complete 1984 Animal Farm, the pigs are in the house, war is peace, insanity. And I don't know if Bitcoin broadcast is a BTC guy or just a BSV person who's disillusioned, which every time more bad news comes out, so-called bad news, there's a few people who leave BSV. At least it doesn't seem like anymore, but there's always people who'd say, okay, Craig lost COPA. Oh, you guys are all coping. This is, why do you still believe any of this? And it only has distilled the people left holding and involved in BSV on the people that are seeing really how insane this is for what it is, even though when you look at it, it's kind of obvious. But with the propaganda, it's not obvious. And all the while, this clown show is going on, and BSV still works. It just gets more and more powerful. So yeah, it's pretty wild to see that they actually do seem to want to lock up Craig. I don't know where Craig is right now. I don't know if you guys have any insight on where he is. I'm guessing somebody knows. I'm just out of the loop on that. But if they do lock him up, I mean, it's just more proof that that's all they have is the power of the state and lies and all this. So if Craig got locked up, it would be the Trump mugshot all over again. And we know how that's ending. I mean, we don't know how it exactly ends, but I don't think it's bad if that happens necessarily. I mean, I hope for Craig's sake that doesn't happen. But anyway, I have to, I don't know. Can you guys still hear me? I think I may have got locked out.
We hear you.
Oh, cool. Oh, awesome. Yeah, anyway, I have to leave in about 2 minutes, but curious to hear any thoughts you have on any of that. So thanks for having me, Gavin. Thanks for hosting the space.
Yeah. So with Craig getting locked up, it's unlikely now because we've seen how the UK operates on a person who's sentenced to long-term custody like Edgar Hansen. He's not locked up. So it's unlikely that Craig's going to be locked up. Now that might mean that he can't travel around from wherever he's at in Malaysia or Singapore or Thailand or Indonesia or whatever place he's at. You know, he may not be able to travel around much. Because if he does come into the UK, they probably will have a warrant for him, and then he will be locked up. But do you think he's gonna? I don't think he's gonna. I don't know. Is he just gonna fall right into that trap? Apparently, he's not. So he's avoiding going to the. It's not. Again, this is going to be again back to the coping, the Craig Mason coping thing. But you know, if you look at the order, Judge Mellor said that unless Craig Wright exercises his right to silence, then we're going to go forward. Well, maybe the email was spoofed to Tristan and all that. That probably was spoofed, right? But he didn't show up, so it looks like he exercised his right to silence to me. So, yeah, any thoughts on it? Okay, we got Jay Paps back up. Nice, good to see you, buddy. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning. I just got a quick comment to make here. Isn't it something how all these BTC guys that were, anti-bank, anti-state, freedom and all of this crap, they're just all piling in and wishing the worst for Craig, which is the only guy that has actually developed a Bitcoin protocol and is actually scaling it. I mean, how many blockchains do we have now? We're up to like over 20,000? Not a single one of them actually works. Not a single one of them can scale. Not a single one of them can work. And the only one that does work, they're calling the guy that developed it a scammer. That's where we're at, guys. Clown world.
Right. Yeah. I did add Bitcoin broadcast. He wanted to comment and say why everybody was wrong and why everybody should sell BSV, but I don't know where he went. Looks like he just stepped back down. So, so Scott, if you want to sell him your
I am
BSV,
never selling.
well,
I just want to say I'm never selling.
yeah,
I don't care what
you're
happens.
coping, so sell, Craig.
I am coping, yeah, but I'm never selling.
Sell it cheap to me, please. Will you? And Scott.
Yo.
Yeah, Scott, you're buying a cheap BSV, right? For anybody, is that right?
Yeah, $5 BSV. If anyone wants to sell their BSV for $5, I'm always our friend.
Bitcoin broadcast is offering $10, so you're outbid. Sorry.
Yeah, but the difference is I'll actually hold it. I won't just dump it. So
Okay.
that's always a bonus.
Yeah.
But no, we joke about the price, but a lot of people, for some people maybe it is, buy BSV, we're going to get rich, but for a lot of people it's just very interesting to see all these different types of technologies that are able to come out of this. Like I was looking at Block Dojo the other day and seeing all the new companies that they'd got coming out this year or they've been working with, and it's sort of sparks these visions of what people were having in Bitcoin back in the day, like Sattva Trust entered into a strategic global partnership with ABL Group. Then there's Chain Academy, Hey Salad, which is sort of incredible progress with innovative solutions, helping users make healthier recipes with ingredients they have on hand. And there's Poor Pass, building digital IDs for pets, House of Sounds, Combat IQ, which is working with the UFC, sort of login statistic data and things like that on chain. Motion Shield, BizCrunch, ADS. There's just so many of these all really random businesses. It's like, because if you have such utility from BSV, it just allows any type of business that uses data to be able to improve itself, to be able to be more truthful, more honest, and be able to process data cheaper. And so, if we were just seeing only exchanges being made on BSV, then I'd be worried. But we're seeing everything from the animal pets and things like that, all the way up to Gate on Chain and Lament and Rad TV, and we're just seeing everything from it all ways just everybody's being quiet about it. You know, there isn't this Bitcoin hype like there was in back in the day because of people realize, oh, you know, it got hijacked. Let's not shout about this. Let's just use the technology quietly in the background because we don't want to get hijacked as well. So yeah, it doesn't matter. None of it matters. You know,
Let,
Bitcoin does what Bitcoin does.
and let me go over to, I want to hear the reason why everybody should dump BSV and sell and dump on Craig Wright now from Bitcoin Broadcast. So let's hear your
No,
case. Floor is yours.
Gavin, thank you for hosting this space, first of all. First of all, as well, I never said to sell your BSV. I've held BSV since 2019. I still have my stack, okay? I agree with everything that JPAP said about that this is the only scalable Bitcoin. I'm in the same camp as you guys, but because I speak against your cope on Craig, you're trying to misrepresent what I was saying. It's very important to try and understand what I was saying. Craig is not Satoshi. He does not have the foundation for proving the identity of being said Satoshi. That's what he showed in court, is what he showed in previous court cases. The man has not performed up to his word. Where is the bonded courier? Show me the tulip trust. I mean, dude, I've been here for 5 years in this space. I'm not a BTCer. I shit on BTCers daily. If you go in and look on replies on my profile, you will see that I comment daily on BTCers shitposting.
No, but the issue is, I would say, is obviously somebody has to have created BSV, you know, and what we see BSV as is it's the original Bitcoin. It's how the white paper was meant to be implemented. You know,
You
we've
say
not
we. Do you include me in that we? Because I see it as well as the
you
original
said that
implementation.
the reason you're in
But
BSV
somebody
is for the
also,
tech, right?
but
You
no,
said the
let's
reason you're
follow
in
one.
BSV is
Take a
for the
step
tech.
back. Take a step back.
That's
Let's
what you
follow
said,
your
right?
logic here. Somebody also had to create Hedera blockchain or Ethereum. That doesn't make them Satoshi. Just because Craig Calvin and the BSVS created BSV doesn't
Who
mean he's
created Bitcoin?
Satoshi.
Who created Bitcoin?
Allegedly, Satoshi Nakamoto.
Okay, so which Bitcoin out of BTC, BCH, and BSV
No,
represents the white
you
paper?
are no, you're still
No,
not.
just answer
I
the
just
question.
told
No,
you
no, no, no.
that
Just
I
answer the
just
question,
told
please.
you.
Just answer the
Oh my
question.
God, you just want to
Which one
let
out
out
of
mouth
those
shit.
three?
You just want to
Which one
shit
out
out
of
your
those
mouth right
three
now instead of
reckons?
listening.
Which
I
no,
just told you
you're over
everything that
talking
you're
me.
asking. I just
I'm
told you
asking
everything
you
that
a
you're asking.
question and you're over talking me. Which one out of those three represents the original Bitcoin? BSV.
BSV is the original implementation, just like I
Congratulations.
just said. But,
Congratulations.
but yeah, but
Well done.
congratulations, you're still not
So
listening to what I'm
who
telling you.
created
You're not
BSV?
following the logic.
Who created BSV?
Bro, you're not following what I said. I just answered your
Okay.
questions in the fucking monologue I just had. And you still wanna like ask stupid questions and mouth shit all over the place.
The question is who
BSV is
created
the original
Bitcoin?
protocol.
Satoshi Nakamoto
It's the
created
closest.
Bitcoin. Which Bitcoin
It,
represents the original Bitcoin in the white paper? That would be BSV. Who created BSV? That is Craig Wright. Forget Satoshi. Craig Wright.
That does
Who
not
is the
make him
person who said
Satoshi
about
Nakamoto.
peer-to-peer Bitcoin?
It
Who is the
does
person
not
who understood about
make him.
SPV? Who is the person who has had great in-depth insight of this? Who is the person that nobody wants to debate? What you're saying is false. It's not. You don't
No,
have to
what you're
support.
saying
You
is
don't have to
retarded, and I
support
wish you good luck.
Craig.
This is a waste of
Okay.
time
Well,
to argue
you
with an
don't have to
autistic
support
person like
Craig,
you.
but you have to. If you
You
support
fucking just
BSC, you
don't
have to at
understand the
least say
logic. You don't
you at least
understand what I
have to have
just told you.
appreciation for
You're
the text. No, I don't. No, I don't, because what you're saying isn't logical.
I mean, I think his point is that the court said he's not Satoshi, and he's right about that.
Of
So,
course, the court can say anything. You
yeah.
know, the court can say anything. We've seen over centuries court make wrong decisions, and regardless whatever the court says, we're free-willed individuals. You know, I don't need court cases to tell me what I can and can't believe from hours and hours of research and multiple conversations and, you know, all the information that is provided to everybody in this space today. who has come to the same conclusion without the court, without anything. If you, after a court case where there is multiple discrepancies from expert witnesses not being biased, even though they work for COPA, expert witnesses who have 4 weeks worth of qualifications, Rosenthal going to dinners sandwiched between Greg Maxwell and God knows who. Like, if you can't see the discrepancies within this case, then that's just putting blinkers on. And the fact is, if it was a fair case, if there was the right tests done with all of the issues, like latex and all of the latex and all of these things, if those examples and it was fair, I would hold my hands up and go, do you know what? I don't like to say it, but Craig really fucked up there. They did everything. They recorded this. They allowed him these expert witnesses who he chose. They allowed this. They allowed that. They gave him absolutely everything on the plate, and he dropped that plate. I would say that for every day of the court case, I went, maybe he won, maybe he didn't win today. I think Copa won this day. Oh, I think Craig did a bit better that day. But they didn't. They stacked the cards against him, and that is simply fundamentally not a real. It's not real. It's not a real win. Just because of it gives the illusion of it, it's still not a real win. So, yeah, I don't care what Bitcoin broadcast says. BTC is not Bitcoin. Bitcoin is represented by BSV, and Craig created BSV. It's very simple.
I just invited Riley.
Simpson, guys. OJ Simpson. Remember OJ?
Right. OJ case was a great, and that's a good point. The OJ case, Craig Mason made this point the other day. So this case with Craig Wright is not been followed, is the next to OJ Simpson. It's, I don't know, Craig said, and I would agree with myself. It's the most followed case for myself and since OJ Simpson. So is that your point, J Paps, or what is your point about OJ?
My point is the court is getting wrong. There's explaining the court said this or the court said that. One just finished explaining all the ways where the court failed. They failed in testing the evidence. They failed in considering all the evidence. But yet somehow I'm supposed to stand by their ruling as if it's infallible? Give me a break. Give me a break. That judge, Dorsey's hand puppet. That's what that judge is.
Right.
Since when is a judge overruled by counsel as to what happened earlier today?
True.
The judge wants a video call. Counsel says no, forget video call. Judge replies, yeah, you're right, forget it. and we're supposed to just say, yeah, this judge is on the level. I don't care if it gets me banned from coming to the UK. The guy's a clown.
Yeah.
The guy's a total paid puppet clown.
Judge says 14 years. Copa say 13 years. Judge says you didn't meet on this time. Copa say yes, we actually met at this time. There's loads of discrepancies. So yeah, 100% what you said is I believe to be true. Fair trial, I'll accept a fair hearing. But if there's no fair trial, I'm not going to accept a fake hearing.
I invited Riley and Wu Tao.
Sorry, we just went through in the United States. Although I'm Canadian, but I mean I tuned in every day. We just went through 4 years of Trump getting lambasted every single day. The guy wasn't even president. They didn't let up for the 4 years that he was president. They didn't let up 1 hour. I saw the same shit. I saw the same narratives. I saw the same defamatory remarks. It's the same goddamn people. This is ridiculous. Everybody that's against CSW, these are the same people. These are the same entrenched bastards that are making your life miserable today. They're the same crap. I've just had enough, and we're not gonna.
Yeah, the narrative is definitely, we've seen it before in the U.S. where they brought these charges, just maliciously, and okay, maybe he was found guilty, Trump, but if you're really going to think that he paid a porn star, he paid a porn star apparently money for sex, and so therefore they charged him with 20 counts, and then he was guilty, and now that was going on for all those years, and that's the focus when we've got yeah. So it's similar Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. It's not. It's a fair comparison to how the justice system works. Yeah, not.
Well, if it's going to be that way, let it be that way across the board for everybody. That's if you're going to start finding, say for example, you're going to start finding Trump guilty of this and Trump guilty of that. You make sure you throw the book at Biden as well.
Yeah, yeah, it does set precedent. Feel free to request up if anybody wants to jump up and ask questions and try to keep it civil if we can. It's okay if you're from the other side. You know, if you want to tell people to sell BSV and dump it, that's fine too. And I'm not saying that that's not what Bitcoin broadcast say. He didn't say sell it. So I correct. He stands corrected. I stand corrected on that. I was wrong.
Gavin, that's how you know we're on the right side. You freely invite the BTC people to come on. The BTC people would never even have us on for 5 seconds. They wouldn't have us on.
No.
But meanwhile, you give them the floor.
Yeah, I do. I give them the floor, and they're welcome to convince everybody here why they should dump BSV and whatever they're. I'm open to hearing it. Let's hear all about it. You know, fair enough. It's a great time for them to also celebrate. They got 100,000 now on BTC, and I think that I'm happy for them. I congratulate them, and I'm genuine. I hope I come across genuine about that. I think it's pretty brave to be able to hold the BTC all the way to 100,000. I didn't have that type of courage personally to do that, and I applaud the ones who did. Hey, right?
Gavin, I'd rather throw my phone in the toilet and all the BSVs with it before I sell them at a loss, just because I was tricked or psyoped by anybody in BTC.
Right.
I'd rather throw my phone in the toilet. I wouldn't care.
No, I would agree. Don't sell. I agree. Yeah, definitely. Riley, I added you up. If you're able to talk, we can hear about your everything that happened in the court today. If you were able to come up, or Wu Tao, we'd love to hear from you guys, man. See what you're up to. So perhaps Tim, who's that? Go ahead, Tim.
One day, the Bitcoin SV will be the most valuable asset in the world. Maybe not in dollar values, but it'll be the most valuable thing because of what you can do with it.
Because of utility?
Yeah, and eventually I think the other, the shitcoin casino will eventually close its doors. Maybe a very long time from now, but someday.
Yeah. What makes it valuable?
So you can trade with it, like you can use it as money, but you can also use it to write data to a blockchain, whether that data is visible to other people or not. It's kind of got magical properties.
Go ahead, Vince. Hands up, dude.
Yeah, I can feel J Pap's frustration. I'm right there with him on that. It's so like unnerving that we always have to be the nice guy. Every single little thing we got to turn the other cheek. You know what, man? Screw that. You know what? It comes to a certain point. You get to you try to be nice, you do this, do that, whatever, and they and they don't acknowledge it. If they would acknowledge that, hey, look, they're doing the right thing. They don't care. They don't care. These are the same people that would have thrown you, had no problem throwing you in an internment camp just because you didn't take a jab or whatever, make you lose your job and have your family suffer. They don't care. That's the type of attitude these people have, and it's just really, really frustrating. So, I'm not saying, hey, look, start being a bad guy or this or that or whatever, but they feed off this bullshit and they don't care. They don't reciprocate one bit, you know. But yeah, that's my little rant. I had my methadone now, and I'm a little better. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding now. But you know what? BSB is going to drive me to methadone. I'll tell you that. At one point or another. You know? But yeah, last night we were talking about data, coverage or data storage on BSV, and I had done some research, a while back, and unfortunately, BSV is still considered. It's a lot cheaper than most to store data, but it's still pretty expensive to do that. There's Filecoin, which I saw was probably the cheapest by far to store actual data. I don't know as far as, security and all that, but it seems like right now the most, um, efficient way of storing anything on BSV is through hashes, but anyway, I just wanted to throw that in there because I checked it out last night after we were talking.
Okay, yeah, it'd be interesting. I wonder, apparently it's easier or cheaper to store on AWS right now. That was the
Yeah, and I think Filecoin is even cheaper.
Filecoin. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's something that Daniel mentioned last night that would have to change over time. But as of
Yeah,
right
but
now,
but this is a small portion of BSV or whatever. It's just not the most efficient. That's one thing out of many, many, many things that BSV is far superior in. But this is unfortunately not the thing that it is. Until data storage or they make more efficient BSV does in order to be able to store data on there. It doesn't it's not effective just yet.
yeah,
Well, I don't think Bitcoin is designed to replace physical memory media. It is just there as a way to put, like you said, a link to, or put a hash on chain, okay, that references the original media that you have saved. I don't even think I don't know for sure because I don't know a lot about Filecoin, but I don't know if it would be if Filecoin is going to be there forever either. Just
Yeah,
like
no, that's true.
a file in AWS might not is most likely not going to be there forever, and if it is, you're going to pay for it over time. So anyway, you find the best, most safest, secure memory media that you have access to, whatever it is that you believe in for your memory media, and then you just put a hash using a one-way hash function on the blockchain if there's for some reason a need to timestamp it.
Right, right. All I'm saying is that even if you have an important document, I mean, the difference is insignificant at that point, but if it's like a long video or we're talking about terabytes, then that's where BSV becomes, inefficient, especially if it's not something that is so critical, so important. Um, you know, uh, that you wouldn't use BSV for that. But yes, a
Right.
very important document where security is a concern and confidentiality is a concern, and yeah, if it needs to be there forever, then yes, BSV is the absolute choice.
yeah. Looks like so the hearing overall there was multiple people reporting on it today. That we had the Mark Hunter. He has a funny thread from that's pretty funny to read. He's talking about where he arrived. He has a show on YouTube. He and Artie Van Pelt do a show, and he's making a basically kind of a report on everything that's happening inside the case today about uh it's a funny thread. It's kind of funny to read. It has a good sense of humor about about things, and it's a lot of the posts here are muted, but it's 20 nothing 0. Yeah, building. And one of the things that's interesting is no AC. He says there's no AC inside the courtroom. The lawyers got their wigs on, reflecting on the seriousness of the trial. This is exactly what the type of justice Craig wanted. We should have started by now, but there's no sign of the judge or the defendant. More water is guzzled to starve off the heat. So they've got the heat turned way up. I mean, apparently it's just maxed out. This is the finest court, the highest, most beautiful, high quality building in the UK, apparently in London. And we had a conversation this morning that there's no way they don't know how to, work the temperature there. That's not an excuse because that happened last, that's just not even an excuse. There's no possibility. Craig's officially a no-show. He says here, 9:30 last night, Craig apparently wrote an email that they tried to stipulate the costs and he couldn't. So he exercises his right to silence, apparently, not to show up, not to testify. And they're going to go straight into sentencing. This is a funny one. It says, side note, I think it's disgusting that Tufty the cat would steal Craig's credit card so he couldn't book a flight. he should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law for that. This is what Mark Hunter's saying about Tufty. So that's what is it called? Satire. Okay. All right. Is your hand up, Vince? Casey, you're sharing something in the nest here. Did you want to comment on it?
I didn't. No, I didn't. I didn't share anything.
Oh.
But I did want to say something about Arthur Van Pelt though, real quick. I mean,
Yeah.
this guy's complaining about that he didn't have enough money because Bitstamp, held his funds or whatever. I mean, is everything that he has in Bitstamp? I mean, he doesn't have a credit card. I mean, nothing. I mean, how ridiculous is that? I mean, I think it's time that he asked COPA for a raise, right?
Yeah.
That's
Well,
ridiculous.
Actually, it's funny because if you go over to Norbert, let me see if I could find that thread with Norbert. Norbert mentioned that Artie Van Pelt was in the courtroom and in the back row, and he was looking dazzling. And it's how he talks about him like it was a ray of light, a ray of sunshine walked into the courtroom when Artie Van Pelt walked in. It was like the tides parted and Moses walked in. So I got to find the exact wording he used. It was quite poetic. Scott, you were going to say something. Go ahead, man. You were.
Somebody had mentioned something that it was like looking at the sun because
Oh,
of what he
looking
was
at the
wearing
sun.
or
That was
something.
exactly the words. Yeah. Trying to find it. It was like looking at the sun when Artie Van Pelt walked into the courtroom. Yeah. It was beautiful. Find that thread.
But the
Casey,
fact that he was bitching about that he didn't have any money, anything, he didn't have food for his kids or nothing. I mean, everything he has is on Bitstamp. I mean, everything liquid, not a credit card, nothing. That's what I found to be like so ridiculous, though.
yeah. What is the guy's name, Scott, that was doing that thread? The court reporter, the guy who hangs out with Tufty.
Sorry, I was just eating then. What I missed that. What did you say?
Remember what was the guy's name that hangs out with Tufty that does all the court reporting? Norbert. Do you know what his X account is?
Bit Norbert.
Bit Norbert.
Yeah, there was a few there. There was Bit Norbert. There was BitMEX Research. There was What the Finance. There was Mark Hunter. There was quite a few faces in the crowd there, from what I'm gathering. So there's plenty, and obviously, yeah, that was all of them.
And they had it was Norbert that was the one that was saying when Arthur Van Pelt walked in the courtroom, it was like a ray of sunshine walked in.
Yay!
It was just beautiful. So they're all celebrating right now. I hope that they're having a good time with Judge Mellor and having a good bite to eat right now, whatever they're doing, right? Oh man.
I just went to this guy's page to try to share some of his stuff in the nest, and I'm blocked by him. I've never even heard of him before. I don't know who he is, but it's such a coordinated effort that these people are all working together so intensely to do everything that they're doing and to suppress all the BSV content. So it's just so strange to me.
Yeah, well, let's see who did I just add? I just added JPAP Mark. Go ahead, Mark. You're up, buddy. First time caller. Mark?
First time caller. I feel special.
Yeah, go ahead, my friend. First,
What's
you doing?
going on with Craig, guys? Please, someone fill me in.
Well, yeah, you want to hear the 411 on everything that happened today?
If that's okay.
Yeah.
Just the gist, one or two sentences.
One or two sentences. Okay. Well, Craig was ordered to appear at the hearing. He failed to appear. They went forward anyways, and they are moving to sentencing tomorrow.
His lawyers didn't even appear. His lawyers could have come on his behalf.
Well, he fired his lawyers, and he was not represented.
Guys, I hate to say this is a huge red flag.
The sentencing?
Him not showing up, nor his attorneys.
Yep. Red flag?
Oh yeah.
And why so? It was it was a contempt hearing, so it wasn't, all they wanted was they want to put him in custody. And that's what they're after. So they want to get him in jail for 24 months, 18 to 24 months. He has nothing to prove at the hearing other than why he shouldn't go to jail. So, and the court is going to find likely why he should go in there. Bose, if people, yeah. So that's tomorrow though. They'll have the sentencing at 2:00, and they're going to likely raise the. Go ahead, Mark.
I just want the truth, man.
The truth.
Is this guy Satoshi or not? That's it.
Well,
too much back and forth. I'm not saying you guys. I mean this Craig individual.
well,
Just keep in mind, there was a time where Craig in the past has said, "I'm going to kill Satoshi, and it will not be in the way that you would like it to be, but I'm going to kill Satoshi." So I do
Here's what I
believe
think.
that Craig and maybe some other people want the whole Satoshi thing behind them.
Guys, sorry to interrupt quickly. I'm going to have to shoot off a second. I'm going to mute and listen to the space, but I'm not going to be able to talk. Just family have arrived and we're about to have some food. So thank you, everyone. Great space. And yeah, I'm going to be muted.
okay, sounds good. Well, let's go over to Bose, my man, Bozo. He maybe you can answer Mark's question about what's up with this Satoshi, what happened to Craig and Satoshi. So, what's up, Bose? Good to see you.
Hey, Gavin. I didn't hear Mark's question, but I wanted to say that this, I'm just looking for it. Like basically in the BitMEX thread, they say that Jonathan Hoff says basically that they want Craig to go to jail for 2.5 years for being in contempt unless he withdraws his champagne passing off case, right?
Yep.
Like essentially,
Yeah,
they're basically
it's exactly what they said is, yes, we would like to sentence him for 2 years and the following term of 6 months if CSW does not withdraw the new claim.
okay. So then, so that means that if Mellor tomorrow finds that he's going to sentence Craig for 2.5 years unless he withdraws his new claim, then Craig should just withdraw the new claim, shouldn't he? And then he wouldn't go to jail. And then, like, if he has to pay any fine for all of this nonsense, then as long as it's less than his travel costs, then he's kind of made the right decision to not come to court today. He's not going to go to jail, and he's not going to pay the money to come over here and interrupt his business, whatever business it is out in Singapore. So I listened to some of today's space, but I just thought it was kind of a bit of a waste of time. Like that's, to me, it seems like obvious that's what's going to happen. He's not going to go to jail, hopefully. He's just going to have to withdraw the claim and probably just will resubmit it in a different way, maybe in a different venue at a different time. I think that's probably the right answer. I mean, I don't know for sure, but like I would expect that makes sense, given that Hoff himself says we're asking for this if he doesn't withdraw the new claim. And the final point there is that if you submit this champagne passing off claim and submit it to the courts do actually have to read it. Like the judge has to actually read the complaint and like come to a decision on whether or not it is it's valid. So it may just be a little bit of chess here, of just like I'm going to make this claim, risk being in contempt of court, be summoned for the contempt of court, not bother going, and then withdraw the claim, because that way the judges have to read what the claim actually is in detail, so that they then know what, precisely the nature of the complaint.
Well, I think dude, I hadn't even thought about that, Bose. It's actually a very interesting point. You're right. Jonathan Hoff did say here that we're asking for a sentence of 2 years and following term of 6 months if CSW does not withdraw the new claim. So CSW could withdraw the claim potentially tomorrow and say, look, claim is over. I'll bring it another day in another court, another venue that actually is going to hear my claim, potentially in the U.S. I think that Vince makes the point that it should be brought in the U.S. anyways because of the precedent of the Kleiman case. And then, he's not in jail. He's not in contempt. And they can all go back to wearing their wigs and dressing up in their costumes. And Craig doesn't have to go. So, Bose, that was actually good insight, dude. Thank you.
I don't know why they didn't do it in the U.S. to begin with.
Well, the COPA case, they sued him into the UK. So he was the defendant and he countered. So they sued him there. And again, it was US. He was also sued in the US by Kleiman. So he was the defendant in that case. Now, this new passing off case, yeah, he did bring that in the UK in the same court. So, and that's what's caused this problem about him being in contempt is the estoppel case, Champagne passing off case. So he could
correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah,
but have I recently heard from somebody in this group that Justice Mellor has still not even done a written judgment on the original case that he saw?
He wrote a judgment on the original case on May 21st, 2024. So he did write a judgment. It was like 31 pages. And he made a written finding. Really, there was only 4 things that were determined. That Craig isn't Satoshi Nakamoto. He didn't write the white paper. He doesn't have author to the Bitcoin system or the or the Bitcoin protocol. So those are the 4 things that were determined. And then also that Craig is not allowed to go online and saying he's Satoshi Nakamoto. He isn't, and he had to post on his Twitter account that he's not Satoshi Nakamoto in those 4 things up until October 23rd, 2024. And the COPA was claiming that he took it down 7 days early on the Professor Faustus account. That's part of the reason why they want him in contempt, because they're claiming he took it down early. And, without speaking for Dr. Wright, because I think that people want to say that, but I mean, apparently he didn't even control that account. And it was posted on his actual Twitter account, which is the CS Tamanaga account. Mark, first-time caller. That was cool. Who else do we have? First-time callers. Go ahead. Casey Nicole.
I've invited a few people I've seen in the audience up, but I guess people aren't able to come up at the moment. I just saw Mr. Tufty come in the room, so maybe he'll come up and share his thoughts on the day.
BSV Panama is here. He's, you're welcome to come up, bro, if you can. Riley's back in the courtroom now. So we're not in the courtroom, we're not in court, but in the space. So come on up, dude, if you can. And happy, to hear what everybody thought about in this space today. And, I see Mr. Pierce. Yeah, if he wants to come up and tell us about it, I would love to hear his perspective. Apparently he was in the front row there at the hearing. So he knows a lot about what happened in the courtroom. We're all just armchair quarterbacks over here. I'd like to hear about what everybody was wearing and how it was going over there from Riley. He was there. Oh, anyway.
Now, Gavin,
thank you for hosting the space.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, you made it up. Glad to hear.
Yeah. Yesterday I couldn't, but today I have some time and I can talk a little bit. So, well, my concern here is the narrative. I'm taking a step back from everything, and I'm looking at the BTC narrative, and I have a very big concern about this strategic reserve narrative that is going on. and it's taking over like a tsunami all over the globe. And I think against that, there is nothing that can be done. Not by Craig, not by any court, not by us, not by anything. This is something that is going to look very much like the previous narrative of do it or else, do it or you're gonna be sorry, or it's for your safety, or if you are going to talk about something else, you're gonna be locked down. I don't know if you remember this thing. It was like a couple of years ago. You remember? Yeah. So this is the same narrative that is going on. The Bitcoin strategic reserve, BTC strategic reserve, this is taking over, you see, and it doesn't matter what else is going on, because this is going to be the next financial takeover, abuse of finances, takedown of individual liberties, takedown of financial sovereignty for individuals, and it's not going to stop. And this is a very big concern. So I'm taking a step back from all this in a way, there are very little happenings. I'm glad that CSW didn't go. I think it's perfect. I think it was just right to do that, because this is not anymore something that can be dealt with this kind of interventions. The BTC narrative is becoming the next COVID narrative. Mark my words, and we are all going to suffer from it. Thank you. I'm going to stop here.
Words of wisdom. Love it. Sounds like some words of wisdom. Tim, you were going to comment on that or chime in?
On that, I would just say that I still think in the long run it'll end up being a big bubble, and it will probably hurt a lot of people, as it would even if it just happens today. I mean, if BTC were deemed to be just the fake that it is today, it's going to hurt a lot of people, and it's not necessarily going to be pleasant even for us, because it's going to hurt people in significant ways. That's going to cause ripple effects throughout the world. But if it goes on longer, it's just going to be even a bigger bubble, and eventually that bubble, I think, is going to burst anyway. And then I just wanted to ask if you also, Gavin, have you heard the video where Craig says that he's going to kill Satoshi, and not the way that you would like, but I will do it? Have you heard that?
No, I have not heard that.
I think I'll dig that up for you sometime. I believe it was his speech at, I want to say Arnhem, his speech in Arnhem. So I'll dig it up for you sometime.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
And send it to you, because it's important. I mean, I think that the idea here with Craig does not want to be known to be Satoshi Nakamoto in a way. He's not looking for that. He's just looking for BTC to be, outed as the fake that it is. That's it. He doesn't care. He doesn't want there to be a king in Bitcoin. There is going to be no king, he said before, and that he's going to kill Satoshi, not in the way that people would like, meaning I'm not going to kill myself like some of you assholes would like, but Satoshi's going to be dead. And so anyway, I don't put a lot of worry into this whole thing, but it is interesting to follow it and try to, sleuth it all out with you all. I love it.
Well, my senior year, I think it was my senior year in high school, and we had this guy, in this Ford Bronco. It was maybe my junior year. Anyways, I remember being in class, and we had it on TV, and the guy in the Ford Bronco, OJ, was on the loose. And it was like, wow, this is crazy. He's on a chase, and he's this famous guy. And then it was like the first time ever that I was interested in a court case. And it was, he went into the court, and he had that famous attorney, Johnny Cochran. He was a great defense attorney, one of the best defense attorneys ever in the history. And he was very theatrical. He would tell a great story. And it was great to see the argument and how the court process worked at that time. And then OJ put the glove on. You remember how the glove didn't fit? He came into the courtroom, and it didn't quite fit. What was that?
You must have quit.
Yeah.
If the glove doesn't fit, you must have quit. Yeah, it was epic.
You must have quit. The glove doesn't fit, you know. And so here we are now, 20 plus years later, 30 years later now. And we've got this new thing, which is the internet and the magic internet money, Bitcoin. And there's this major dispute over it. It's, well, which Bitcoin is Bitcoin and who created it. And it's this huge case and huge fight. And so now it's kind of a modern day case like that. You know, we are a part of history in a way, just by being here talking about it, because we didn't have a space like this when OJ was doing it. And at that time, you know, there wasn't any, you were like, you kind of just watching for the entertainment of it. It was cool. But this is you're a little bit more involved. You're like, I know people on, you know, I don't just know you guys who are on this call just by the internet. Most of you people, most of the guys I know in person, you know, who I've met, you know, and hung out with and broke bread with. And so it's it's a whole different level than just somebody on the internet or just a TV show like OJ. But this is, yeah, I think it's definitely an exciting time, man. It's the most thrilling case when we see a person like Liz Crocken, who Casey has told me about. And let me actually pause this really quick. If you want to talk about her for a moment, Casey, that would be awesome to hear. If you want to background that,
be really disappointed. Everyone seems to memory hold that for the time being. The game theory here is, if BTC is in enough people's pockets, then there won't be the political will to move coins on chain without keys. And it's a massive gamble, and it underestimates the power of the political structure, right? Because you've got an adversarial political structure. If one party says, no, you can't move coins without keys because you'll crash the price, the other party is going to be like, we're moving coins without keys because we're going to crash the price. And the thing is that you actually have to put that to the test. You can't just be like, okay, well, we'll just agree. Like you have to put the network to the test. You have to put it under pressure. You have to stress test it. And the reason for that is they're advertising it as credibly neutral. Yeah. This is an asset that Russia can have in their treasury and America can't confiscate it. This is a treasury asset that China can have in their treasury and America can't confiscate it. And yet, what's that guy, that Air Force captain, I forget his name now, he's written a book about America's strategic interest in controlling the hash rate.
Jason Lowry.
Lowry, Major Jason Lowry, exactly. And he's basically
Sorry to interrupt you, buddy. Sorry.
Thank you, I appreciate that. He's basically saying it's in the United States' interest to have all of the hash power under their control, or at least 50% of it. And he's right. Why? Because then if Russia uses it as a strategic asset for their treasury and the two countries are at war, then guess what? The country with the most hash power can confiscate it from their enemy. And this is important stuff. All of this Craig Wright, is he Satoshi, is he not drama, is a sideshow, it's a distraction. Sorry to be blunt, but I know you guys all know that as well. So I'm just underlining it once again.
yeah, that's a good point. Well taken. Go ahead, Tim.
No, I just was saying thank you to Bose because that's very true. And like I said before, in my opinion, Craig Wright created Bitcoin. I don't think that I have a doubt about that at all. But I've also heard Craig say that he's going to kill Satoshi, not in the way that you want, but I will kill Satoshi. He said it just like that. I'm almost exactly word for what he said. And I've got to find the video. And I'm a little concerned about AI because AI obviously is very slanted, because if you try to look this stuff up on AI, it gives you no help at all. So we have that issue to deal with in the future too, where these companies are gonna, scrub information and you can't get even an honest answer from AI. You're better off to go to Google.
Nice. Got I'm getting messages. You know, it's funny. There's just people. I don't understand why. Anyways, I just why people can't celebrate and be happy about their wins with with if you're rooting for Craig to go, everything is looking great for that. If that's what you're looking for, why they can't be happy about it, I don't know. Go ahead, J Paps, you're back up on stage. You're up, dude. Go ahead. Good to see you, man. Come on. Oh, we got Satoshi back up as well. Satoshi, J Paps. Am I on?
Yeah, mate, I can speak if you want me to.
Please.
Yeah, so the reason Craig is saying he has to kill Satoshi or just basically get rid of Satoshi is because there's no need for Satoshi to exist anymore, because all chains of signatures lead back to the Genesis block, which is where accountability lies. And so accountability has to start with someone. So it's absolutely essential that whoever it is that started the network reveal their true identity. So Satoshi has already served his purpose in order to let the network grow organically without any central point of influence. Well, when that period came to an end, which was the 1st of January 2020, and Craig received the keys to the Tulip Trust back, there was no need for Satoshi. The network had undergone that period of neutral organic growth. So it's absolutely essential now that the guy who created the network actually reveal himself, so that the chains of signatures lead back to one living man or woman, the individual, who can then start the chain of signatures and say, yes, that was me. I sent the transaction to X, who sent the transaction to Y, who sent the transactions to A, B, C, Dick, Bob, and Harry, and whatever. And this guy down the line is the guy that was behind a wallet that paid for the transaction that involved child trafficking, gun running, drug dealing, blah 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 blah. So no need for Satoshi anymore at all.
Yeah, no need for him. I mean, and ultimately there is no. I guess you're right. It takes the liability off, and that's fine. That's the big victory. So everybody can celebrate. Everybody can celebrate that they won on that, right? But as opposed to celebrating, they want to personally attack me. I don't know about you, but they love personally attacking me, dude. It's just, why don't they just go celebrate? Why do they have to personally attack me?
Mate, you know how big the conspiracy is. I mean,
Yeah.
jeepers, you've got the central banking cartel, who have been fulfilling their Zionist plot for thousands of years, and suddenly they've got something that actually threatens their plans that they've been for their one totalitarian one world government. They're not going to go down with that fight. And again, Rockefeller's secret covenant, that says we will, when a light shall shine amongst them, we will extinguish them with either ridicule or death, whichever suits us best. So they attacking you, they're going to be ridiculing you,
Yeah. Yep. They love doing that.
Well, yeah, just block them,
Yeah. Oh no, yeah, I know. They still, it's all right. It seems like it's coming from Greg Maxwell. I think you're right. He might have some influence in the space.
Oh yeah, massively. Well, do you remember when Twitch was still going, or was that before your time?
A little bit. I remember that.
All right. Well, I mean, one of the reasons I got to know Casey is because her Twitch number was literally the one just before mine. I was like, oh, this is interesting. I wonder who that is. And that's how we got talking. But literally after I'd created my profile and got my Twitch number, like Greg Maxwell created loads of Satoshi profiles on Twitch, and this is what they do. They just try and copy your profile and trying to get people to blame stuff on you when they've done it. That's just the games that they play, mate. It's all deception.
That's also one of the reasons why they dislike BSV, because once BSV is pervasive around the internet, it will make it impossible to do that kind of bot farming.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
And they don't want to lose
their entire network.
Yes.
Hey guys, I'm back now.
Nice.
Finished my food, had a nice rest. But interested in hearing you two guys talk.
Jay Papp's got his hand up. Oh, Casey Nicole has your hand up. No.
Yeah, I just got I got a quick couple of comments. First off, you know, Gavin, with all due respect, you keep repeating that the BTC guys, you know, you should congratulate them and they're winning. But tell me what they've won. Is BSV dead?
No.
Are the transaction fees Have the transaction fees gone up and they're not affordable on BSV? Is there no usage on the chain? Have their fees gone down?
Yeah, you
No.
know, it's funny though you bring that up. Because honestly, I'm at my mindset now where I'm just honestly I don't even really pay attention to them at this point. You know, almost like
You're a good ambassador. You're a much better ambassador than I am.
yeah.
I can't hold my mouth. I can't. I listen to these guys and I just can't. They just spew stupidity and they circle jerk each other and they're just reaffirming what the last guy said, and they all think they're correct. But the reality, look, I know a lot of people that are involved, I guess you could say, in crypto, and not a single one of these normal people, and I know they're normal people because they're in front of me, and not a single one of these normal people has dismissed BSV. Actually, I personally have, I would say, at least $2 million of investment in BSV from all the people that I have encountered and spoken to about BSV. And it's not a hard sell, by the way. So I know that regular people, all you have to do is talk to them about BSV, and their eyes light up. And they're like, and how much is it? It's $50, $60 a coin? Man, they buy right away, just in case. Like in the words of Satoshi, you might want to get some if it catches on, right? So, I mean,
Right.
I will tell you how much sense BSV makes. Years ago, I actually pushed this on my children, okay? And I explained to them they were at the time, I would say they were 8 and 9 years old. We're talking about kids now. I spoke to them about the pros and cons of BTC, the pros and cons of BSV, and my son gave me all his allowance, and he told me, I want to buy BSV, and my daughter said the same thing, although she was much less interested. My son actually went upstairs and broke his piggy bank and gave me the balance and said, I want to buy more, and he pushed it onto me. So an 8-year-old, a 9-year-old can understand the advantages and the superiority of BSV. You think regular people that are holding BTC can't see this?
They get too married to their bags, and then it makes them blind. The greed.
The thing is, my point is, of these people that you're arguing with, okay? You're not. I don't believe you're arguing with many people. I believe you're probably arguing with maybe a dozen, maybe 2 dozen people that are controlling collectively hundreds of accounts, and they're making it look like there's a lot of them, but I don't believe there's that many of them, because at the end of the day, when people are buying BTC, they want to do what? They want to make money. Now, as much as somebody wants to make money, if they're schooled on the actual value proposition of what BTC really is, I think people get shaken to the core, because
Right.
you can recognize a Ponzi scam really easily. And I mean, if BTC ain't a Ponzi, I don't know what is.
Good point. Yeah. Okay. First time caller, Steve, you're up, buddy. Good to see you, my man. Unmute. Steve. Yeah.
Hey, yeah, thank you, Gavin. Appreciate the space. Thank you, Casey. So I caught the space that y'all did yesterday with Tree Chat, and I want to say thanks for putting that together. Since being introduced to that and figuring out the app, learning how to use it, if that's an example of what can be built on BSV, then I'm absolutely impressed and blown away. So I'm enjoying that. It's a really cool way to transition into the whole social fi prospect that is just around the corner, it's so close, and it's an effort to get others to kind of comprehend and get around to using apps and advantages like this. You know, again, it's for our benefit, but it's inevitable nonetheless. But most importantly, I wanted to highlight something in particular. I really never um, I never stayed up to date with the whole BSV and Craig Wright thing. And then so any kind of news that hits the mainstream narrative and headlines on the surface, being in the truther community, it's an immediate red flag to me. And so seeing what was taking place in the event with Craig Wright and how that was being chalked up about what was being kind of thrown out there in the headlines. Um, I mean, it was very suspect, but again, I never looked into it until this one particular gentleman who I follow um, pretty closely by the name of Reggie Middleton. So, I'm someone that likes to do a lot of searching within the crypto space. I've been in since 2017. And, coming to find out, his extensive professionalism and, impressive success of where he's come from, how much he's known in traditional finance. And, and the project that he came up with Veritasium was very, instrumental in the whole development, and hearing him explain about the development and, again, the prospects of what, this technology is going to do, this digital asset, formation. And then to see how his name was being thrown through the ringer, going through the same thing that the way you are describing Craig Wright's going through. I've been witnessing him go through the same thing, and how the system has been attacking and suppressing, and again throwing out a lot of these red flags to these particular people that have something that is apparently some type of threat to them. And I guess we could say one of these threats is the obvious legal issue of the patents. With Reggie having the patents that he has, and Craig also being under that same light, this makes sense as to why and how the system is trying to combat that, shut this down so much. Because, when we hear things about ETHgate and a lot of the insider trading of, a lot of these early moves that try and go in and manipulate the system in some way, it's obvious what's happening here and how they can control the narrative and the flow of information. Again, being, aware when being inside the truther community, how these things work, how they operate, who's involved, all this can make a lot of sense. But when Reggie Middleton acknowledged the validity of Craig Wright and his invention and what he's created and what that means for BSV, I immediately perked up and had to start paying attention to what's going on here, which is why I started to get involved with these discussions recently. And so I think this is just another aspect of the information of what we're talking about when it comes to the solid foundation of what this technology is, and who played a big part in the development and the operations of how this should move forward. Because let's be honest, any of the technologies that we use today is always licensed from the person that owns, that part of the ownership. And so this, this is very essential to how we're moving forward, and trying to pick that correct side on where we're laying our viewpoints here. I did notice you had a space with Reggie, and I was curious if you could maybe sum that up and how that goes, if you're familiar with him, and where you stand with him, because I think these two gentlemen, they are really the way they're being attacked and what someone goes through, you know, it means a lot as far as, you know, how this will transition and how this will come about eventually here in the near future. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. Well said. First time caller. Excellent. Let me respond to that. And that with Reggie, you know, first of all, the guy is an absolute pioneer. He's the trailblazer and he's a game changer. His innovation is absolutely disruptive. It was incredibly disruptive. And I think one of the original patents as well. Some of the original patents were awarded to Reggie for DeFi and to this day. And for that, he's still persecuted. If you go to Coin Market Cap to this day, they still say that Veritasium is Security and Exchange has filed charges against Veritasium. It still says that on CoinMarketCap to this day, even though that's all been dismissed and even though that's all over, they still persecute him on there. So it is a never-ending battle for him, just similar to Craig Wright. And I think it was more recently when Reggie found out about his patent being cited by nChain so many times. So he said hundreds of times he would see nChain citing his patent. And then he started looking at who's this nChain? What's this all about? And then he started connecting the dots. What's nChain? Who's behind it? And why do they keep citing my patents? Wow, look, there's a lot of these things. What are they about? And then he and I connected from Riz. Riz is one of his good friends, one of his guys. And so, you know, Reggie came on and we did a number of spaces, 2 or 3 spaces, maybe more, maybe 4. We did a bunch of times with Reggie, man. He's awesome. And I actually, you know, way before I even knew anything about or heard even anything about Craig Wright, I knew about Reggie Middleton personally because of Cliff High, you know, and reading the WebBot report. So, you know, he was somebody I knew about way before BSV or Bitcoin, any of this. I mean, Reggie was always somebody that I've always looked up to. So, anybody else have any comments on that?
This is going to be a really stupid comment, but I'm going to say it anyway. When I first heard Reggie Middleton, I always thought that, like, you know, he was on a microphone, and it was like, God, why is this guy? Why can't he turn down the bass on his voice? It's so annoying. Then I hear him like on other places or whatever, and it's like his natural voice. The guy's got like the deepest, like, natural voice I've ever heard in my life. Anyway, that's my stupid comment.
It's like professional. I think it's his warrior. He's a warrior. You know, the guy's
No, he is.
He's a warrior.
He is. It's very authoritative, very, you know, very credible. But he sounds like that one, not Cindy Portier, that other, who's the one that does all the voiceovers?
James Earl Jones.
No, that's
yeah, he's a baritone. He's a natural baritone, and it's his calming voice because of his martial arts training. That when you're that well trained and at such a high level, like an Olympic level, like he is, you know, nobody's gonna mess with you. If they did, they're going down. You know, so
yeah, no kidding. Yeah. But yeah, what the other guy was saying though about Reggie Middleton, it's absolutely true because I was still kind of like, I don't know, but I mean, Reggie Middleton just went out there and he had like no skin in the game. I mean, no, you know, dog in the race or whatever. And he just laid it out. He's like, look, these patents by nChain, they're real. They are real. There's something to be contended with. I mean, it's going to be a real problem for these companies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did. He gave an incredible perspective on the nChain patents. That it sounds like Steve really was able to see the light at the end of the tunnel on that. And I want to go back to you, Steve, too, on that. But before I do that, let me just address also the tree chat, and maybe Scott or Casey can address it as well. But because that was a huge wake up call. The tree chat is a great little social media thing that we talked about yesterday, and it is a great example of true on-chain Bitcoin SV app that is utility that people can use. So, yeah. If you want to respond to that, Steve, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, thank you again. But I mean, the way that Tree Chat is developed, you know, the user interface on that, it's very different than I think what anybody would be used to, you know, because a lot of these social media apps that we use is just a single column scroll and performing one thing at a time. I myself am one to kind of juggle a lot of different things, and the way it has this 3-column interface, utilizing different bits of information, sometimes at the same time, that's exactly how I operate. So I appreciate that app so much. And again, the way that that was built and all the features included in that thing, again, if that's an example of what BSV is about, then I'm completely sold and really impressed. But yeah, I just think, again, going back to the validity of, the integrity of this technology, like who was implemental in not just the developing it, but creating that the proper way forward. One of the biggest hangups that has prevented a lot of businesses from saying yes to this thing is not just does it work, but you know um, uh, the actual licensing and the ownership, the way that every company likes to move forward on how to operate legally within this, framework. And so when we look at that, uh, as an outline, two of the biggest names, I guess, from my standpoint, is Reggie Middleton and Craig Wright. And this is completely mind blowing to me, because these are two gentlemen that the system is trying to shut down at the moment, and the very corrupt system at that. So the level of malfeasance to the degrees of which that they're trying to conduct is no surprise at all. But at the same time, the administration that's forming right now, and the way that the overall societal structure is also reforming, there is a new perspective and a new foundation, especially with Ripple. I mean, the comparison here is also ironic, because when Ripple was served those papers, to me, again, that was a show. When Clayton threw down, those serving papers to make it look like Ripple was going to be going through this same kind of, you know, legal battle or lawfare, was a joke, because I already knew that they were already establishing themselves far into many international banks. So that was inevitable. But the way that they were going through the court system was, it was just a waste of time, when I think it was already settled before it even began. But the timing of all this restructuring, and now the RLUSD coming out, solidifying the confirmation of this new financial paradigm. So there's a new perspective taking place. There's a new framework moving in. And so a lot of these things will be focused on and addressed eventually, I think, in the correct way. And, and as far as what Craig Wright says, I think he says a lot of things in a very enigmatic way, where there's something else. I think he's like almost speaking in code sometimes. And his reference in using the Phoenix terminology is very indicative of that. Like, he has a fail safe. He knows something that we don't. And yeah, I don't think really it's too much of a bother. This thing's going to hash out the way it's going to, but I think for the better.
So it sounds like you're very new, relatively new. So it wasn't until Reggie started talking about the patents, which would have been only within the last less than a year. Is that right? That you looked into this stuff, or what is your?
Yeah, I'm very, very recent in looking at the whole BSV stuff.
Fascinating. Fascinating that you're here. That you already somehow interesting that you already believe. All right, that's fascinating perspective. Who was it that just had their hand up, Casey? Thank you, Steve. I thought somebody just joined
I didn't
us.
see any hands up.
Oh, Jack, BSV. I wanted to have Jack come up here. Jack, if you can join us, BSV, Jack from the courtroom today, we'd love to hear your perspective. I never got to hear your courtroom perspective. You were having your cell reception when you were talking earlier was out of area. So if you can come up, please do. I invited you to speak. Back to you, Scott. I mean, what's on your mind, dude?
Sorry, what was that?
Oh, I was trying to get Jack BSV back up here so we can hear about what his perspective was, because we didn't hear much from him today on your space. He was in a poor area when he was talking, and he was reporting on the case.
He popped in. We got a little rundown afterwards. I think that was maybe before you joined. But yeah, I would welcome him up, and obviously Riley as well. They both were there. They both discussed with each other what each other thinks. So it's always good to have them, the man on the ground, sort of telling us what's going on.
Right.
He doesn't seem to be here anymore.
Nice. Well, so yeah, let me just give you a little perspective on for tomorrow, and then we can start to kind of wind down towards the top of the hour. Tomorrow contempt scheduling hearing is going to be. Well, I'm sorry, contempt scheduling hearing over sentencing tomorrow. So Wright is going to be. He's offered to appear tomorrow. They offered for him to appear. They're going to send him the transcript apparently of the hearing, and then at the hearing they're going to sentence him. That seemed to be pretty inevitable. So they're going to sentence him, and likely it'll be the maximum sentence, which will be 2 years to 2.5 years behind bars. So I would expect that's most likely the outcome. I'm not sure how there's going to be any other way around that, unless he pulls down the petition. That's what Jonathan Off wanted. He said, pull the petition down, delete the case, remove the case. Then we will not ask for sentencing. He'd have to remove the passing off case. So if Wright, go ahead.
Why can't he go ahead? I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but why can't he just go ahead and do that? And like Joel said, people in the community can just start it right back up. Anybody can do that passing off case.
100%. I mean, he's definitely on his own agenda. He's not listening to anyone's advice, obviously, I think, right? So, I mean, I would agree that would be the right thing to do. 100%. He should take it down. Why should he risk sentencing over that case? But he's got his own plan and he doesn't listen to anybody. I think that we've all seen that, right? He does not listen to anyone. He's going to do whatever he's going to do, even if it means going to jail. Gotta respect the guy for that, right? He's a man on principle, that's for sure. He'd rather go behind bars and potentially keep that case going. Who just added up? Okay, Jack BSV, is that you? You want to come up and talk now? Are you up?
I didn't see him come up.
Oh, you didn't? Okay. Yeah, he's definitely a man on principle. I mean, Reggie didn't face criminal charges, I don't think, an arrest and sentencing in the SEC case. Well, I don't know, he might have, but he never did criminal time, but they sure pounded him civilly. This is definitely setting precedent, But Mellor's name is I don't know, dude. It's consider it a stage. It's a theater. It's a courtroom stage. It's Perry Mason optics at its finest for this courtroom drama. So hopefully everyone's enjoying the heck out of it, because that's all it really should be, is theater. This is just courtroom theater at its finest.
X needs to add a popcorn emoji for us.
Yeah, it adds a popcorn emoji for X, dude. Come on, Musk. Seriously. Yeah, speaking of X, I mean, I wouldn't doubt for a second, though. I mean, see the whole thing with Trump and those guys, in Florida. I mean, the Craig Wright, the Kleiman Wright case happened down there, and we know from that time period that Wright had that. What is it? Was it 2019? There was a period of time where he was in Miami, Florida, and he was away. And I mean, it was Kurt that talked about it, that he went away during and he was gone for a certain amount of period of time. Anyway, speculation happens, but to think that the incoming administration doesn't know about what's going on would be, I think, would be a poor assumption. For one, the crypto czar, that crypto czar is making a movie about the Andrew O'Hagan Satoshi affairs. Okay, also the crypto. What's his name? The crypto czar, Casey.
I'm not sure.
Man, what's his name? Nobody, Vince, don't you know who what's his name? He's a guy, he's a PayPal guy.
He's a joke. David.
What was that?
He's a joke. His name is Joke. Joke the clown.
Joke the clown.
Well, you're talking about David Sachs, though.
David Sachs, that's it.
He was an early investor, and he's one of the group, right? The PayPal group.
Yeah, he's a PayPal guy, early investor. And one of the things about him, which is interesting, is that he, who he counsels with, who he gets his advice from. Well, we've had him here. Vinny.
Palantir.
Vinny. Vinny. Where's Vinny at? Is he up here? No, he's not here right now, but that's who I've been reading. That's where he's been getting it, talking about things and learning about things from, is from with Vinny. And Vinny's a truther, man. Vinny wants to know the truth. He wants to get to the bottom of the truth. You know, I would say, right? Scott, you know Vinny, right? You've heard from him.
I don't know him personally. Only why I've interacted in spaces. You're talking about Vinny Lingham,
Yeah,
is it?
Vinny Lingham.
Yeah, he's a large time investor, trader. He was talking about he likes BSV as the tech. He just thinks there's certain things they need to iron out with liquidity issues, right?
Yep. Right. But he loves it. And so
Yeah.
therefore that's where the cryptos are, I mean, he's counseling. He's one of his advisors, one of his consultants is Vinny. So he's getting information from Vinny. Now he's buying the rights to the book and Satoshi first. I'm just saying that this is all, things, there's a lot more, I think, that's going on that we don't know about, you know. Scott, somebody just joined up.
I think we know about. We really know about, but we don't want to see it. If people really think about the big picture and not just at the details, then we know. You know, don't look at the tree. Look at the big picture. Look at the whole picture. Then you get it. It's a whole money, power, control structure being put in place by the BTC Ponzi cabal, and everyone is in bed with it. All these guys that you think are gonna save us. They are playing with us. They are playing with us like we are fiddles for them. You know, they're playing. They think they were stupid. That's why they think we are stupid. And then they can play with it and make their little limited hangouts and make distractions and then bring everybody to think about something else while they put in place the money power control structure that is being put in place. And please just open your eyes and look at the big picture, and then you will see it very clearly. It's all there. It's all there in plain sight. It's so much in plain sight that people just don't see it because it's too much in plain sight. It's amazing. It's really amazing. I'm really surprised. You know, it's like everybody can see that the PTC cabal is making a move to take over and to make sure that the powers to be and the control of financial resources is going to be in the hands of the few even more than before, and to make everybody compliant with it. And soon we are going to have lockdowns on the use of money and the use of resources, and we're going to have the real situation that everyone wants to escape from, and it's because the BTC cabal is getting it's being allowed to be. Now, of course, BSV is the only alternative, is the only possible alternative, which is legal, which is freedom, which is real wealth, and it has to be suppressed. Now, of course, I understand Craig in front of that. He is the immovable warrior, because the immovable warrior wins because he's not moving. And this is what is going to happen. In the end, the winning move is not to fight. And this is what's going to happen. And because the whole cabal is going to crumble under its own weight, because it's going to take time and it's going to be difficult, like the other move that they tried to make 2 or 3 years ago. It's crumbling, and this one is going to crumble again. But it's useless to say, oh, you know, we don't see what's happening. We see what's happening. We really see what's happening, and it's going to crumble under its own weight. This is my prediction.
So you think
Hey, Gavin?
Yeah.
Are you able to simultaneously play video and then have the audio from it come through?
Negative, not on the X space. I'm not.
Okay. Well, I just posted up in the Jumbotron the video where Craig says that he will kill Satoshi, not in the way you think, and it's at the 58-minute, 10-second mark. If anyone is interested to check that out, because it surprises me that not a lot of people remember him saying that.
Can you find, do you see that, Casey?
Yeah, from
Yes, I just put it in the nest.
You did? Okay, thank you.
I added it to the nest. Yeah. And I did see Liz. Liz just came in the room, so thank you so much for joining us.
Where is she?
Listen as long as you want, but anytime you want to come up, we've been chatting about you all morning, and they're excited to have you here. So.
Is she in the room right now?
Yes.
Sorry, what was the timestamp on that video? Just because it 58 minutes, did you say?
Yes, it's in the nest.
Yep, 58 minutes, 10 seconds.
Okay. And this is the
Thank
video. Yeah, I don't think I'm able to play sound. Well, yeah, I don't see how to play sound on X because it'd have to go through my speakers. And if my speakers play it, it's not going to play. It's not going to play well through the mic because I got a large mic here. Have to somehow rewire it to make that work. But this is something cool. So this is the speech where he gave the speech in 2017 when he yielded time. What was his name who yielded time at this speech? The famous guy. He says, "I'm going to yield time to Craig Wright." Yeah, this is anyways, I recognize the video that you're promoting there, but I don't remember where he said that. So everybody check it out. It's up in the top of the thread there. And as we're kind of winding down here. No, go ahead, Tim.
For Bitcoin, it is about financial sovereignty. And that means not answering to anyone about what the fuck I want to do. Did you actually read the post? Then obviously you didn't get it. Yeah, and I never said anything other than the Sartre bit. Did you actually know what Sartre said? If I sign Nobel Prize winner, I am not the same. There is no fucking king. There is no glorious leader. One thing I will do, yes, someone got it right. I am here to kill off Satoshi. Not in the way that you want, because there is not going to be some great leader standing above. There's not going to be what Core tried to do with Nick. There is not going to be one person that we come and answer to. It will be the best ideas, the best solutions. Not because you think they're the best, because the market does. And the market votes with their dollars. And eventually, the market is going to vote with their bloody bitcoins.
Yeehaw.
Dang, that was good, Tim. That worked perfectly. That was excellent. He's killing off Satoshi.
Yeah. Yeah. This is the reason why, whatever is going to be is going to be. I think it's important if he's in jail or not. He shouldn't be in jail. But, I think he has a plan.
Yeah. And hopefully jail is not a part of that plan.
I mean, jail's no good for anybody unless you're a violent criminal, in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. He's not a threat to society. But, the reality is that they want sentencing tomorrow, and COPA is going to push for it. And so I would expect it, unless he brings down that petition, then fortunately we're going to see sentencing.
And that will probably likely backfire in the long run for Mellor and COPA.
Well, he would become a martyr. That would be the martyr theory.
Yeah, and if he does get jail time, he's going to become even much more famous than he is now.
That's true. That's true. I guess that's a good point. If he's back behind bars and Craig is all tied up in chains, now he's probably going to be even more famous. Yeah. Yeah. Well, looks like we can add up. You added up Liz, Casey. So Liz, nice to meet you. I'm so happy to see you up on stage for the first time. First time caller. How you doing? My name's Gavin.
Hey guys, I'm doing good. Thanks for having me. I'm sorry I wasn't able to come in earlier. I was in a class and now I'm in the grocery store. So if there's background noise, I apologize. I'm going to go back and listen to this space, you know, from the beginning after it finishes. But I just want to thank all of you guys that have reached out to me. I have been researching, crypto for the past couple months now, and I'm very new to it and I'm still learning a lot, but you guys have been really supportive and been sending me a lot of information, so I'm really appreciative about that. And I am just welcoming anyone that has any information on crypto. And I'm interested in Satoshi and like the origins, the scams that go on with crypto, and specifically I'm very interested in how crypto is used for criminal activities such as child sex trafficking. And for those of you guys that aren't familiar with me, like that's my area of expertise.
I would love to thank you for what you have done for the kids around the world.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm extremely excited to see you up here, Liz, because I definitely, you were very important person on my journey of researching what's going on here and into the global human trafficking stuff, which